Well, your favorite beverage goes gourmet this morning with some delicious beer pairings. We're in the Price Chopper kitchen with brewer Rafi Chaudry, and he is taking us through some beers and cheeses. I love this pairing.
Absolutely.
What makes them go well together, beer and cheese?
Well, I think, one of the things you really have to take into account is kind of pairing intensity of both the cheese and the beer, and that really kind of gets you thinking about flavor profiles of both in different ways and new ways. This is kind of a good example. This is a beer we brew, a Torn Label Brewing called Hang 'em High. It's a West Coast IPA, so it's kind of a drier, big hop bitterness.
Okay.
So I would pair a beer like this with this. This is a Vermont cheddar with chilies.
You're speaking to my heart since
Absolutely.
I just
So
moved from Vermont.
go for it.
Okay. So what kind of flavor are you trying to bring out here?
So here, hops and spice are kind of a classic pairing combination. The big kind of juiciness of the West Coast hops will really kind of complement the spiciness of the chilies in that particular cheese.
Delicious.
And kind of for contrast, this is another beer we brew called Magic, and also an IPA, but you can see it looks very different. This is an East Coast style IPA, so it's kind of hazier, and we brew it with raspberry and lemon peel.
Oh.
So I would pair this beer totally differently. We have a French Boucheron with this, and it's a young, fresh cheese, and it's a much more kind of mild flavor profile. So with this beer and this cheese, you get the kind of mild earthiness of the cheese and the creaminess that works well with the kind of fresh fruit raspberry character of the beer.
I'm just loving the cheese. I'm sure the beer is delicious.
That works too. It's pretty early for beer, although not for us in our industry.
That's true. Well, speaking of your industry, why is the craft beer just blowing up so much here in Kansas City?
People here in Kansas City, they really love local. They value something that's kind of that's made right here in town. They can kind of come by to the brewery to see where it's made. It's kind of a melting pot of styles and approaches here. At our place, we do a bit more kind of off-center, out-there styles, but it's also a city that really values some more places that do more traditional German or old world beers or Belgian styles. So it's kind of that people are interested in all different types of beer here in KC.
Yeah. Tell us about this last one.
The last one, this is a coffee wheat stout, so it's a good breakfast beer for this time of day.
Okay.
It's called House Brew, and for a beer like this, it's you get a really kind of good cold brew coffee element out of it. So it's almost like a morning coffee. You can kind of think about pairing like a breakfast coffee. So I have an Austrian Asmonte cheese here, so you get the nice kind of caramelization from the aging of that cheese, which kind of works really well with a more roasty kind of coffee quality.
Interesting. That is a good combo.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, and there's a big Microbrew Festival this weekend. Tell us about that.
Parkville, yeah. The Parkville&rsquo Fest is coming up this Saturday afternoon, obviously downtown Parkville in the park. And it's a great festival. There's so many festivals now, and they're all great, but Parkville has been doing it for so long, and it's really one that brewers kind of love as much as attendees. Attendees have a great time, but it's one you actually see owners and brewers from all over town show up to because we all enjoy it, and we kind of pull all the stops and bring some really special stuff for that festival.
So fun. How do people get tickets? Just show up?
You can show up. They should have some at the door, but I think Parkville website just in advance, the best way to do it.
Awesome. Well, cheers to cheese and craft brews. Thanks so
Cheers.
much for coming in. And you can get some great beer, like you said, Saturday at the Parkville Microbrew Fest going on at English Landing Park from 1 to 5 p.m.